Hello, my friend. Today, I eventually come to address this Australia homeless issue. I started notice this homeless issue since I come to Australia in 1990. That is 31 years ago. When I come to Australia as a student, at that time, Australia was at a recession. It was very hard to find a job, and as a student, foreign student, I couldn't get any social benefit. So one day, I became homeless. I went to a hostel on William Street. I believe it was run by a church. One night, a lot of people sleep in the big hall. In the morning, 5 o'clock, everybody was wake up, the light was on, and clean up the bed. Then had breakfast. I stayed there for only one night. The next day, the lady told me I couldn't stay there anymore because I was not Australia citizen or Australia permanent resident. I had to move out. That's good experience for me, of course. Since then, I try my best, get a job and become a railway employee, become a child student leader. After 9 years, I went back to China, become a vice president of a Chinese, a big company, have 20,000 employees. I was in charge of foreign trade and finance. I visited more than 30 countries, all on a business trip. And also I raised up 5 kids, all finish university in Australia, live in Australia and get a good job in Australia. But I never forget about the homeless people. So I tried to solve this problem by gave government advice. For example, when the St. James unused underground tunnel was going to be used as a tourist business, and the government want somebody invest at least 2 million to rebuild it and become an underground attraction. I suggest we should use that tunnel to hold homeless people. Then American company developed a 3D printing house, and the cost was around 3,000 or 4,000 US dollars. I was very happy as well. I suggest government should use technology and use some public land to build up some houses to house those homeless people. Looks was easy because the government spent a lot of money on homeless people already. But until recently, I found out the homeless issue is not so simple. It is not a government short of money or the government less of determination to fix it, because it's a mental health issue. For example, now this room have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 per space. So that can hold 16 people. And the cost to stay here with a good bed, with shower, with a kitchen, with everything, only cost me $90. So I was thinking, as a homeless person, if he or she is an Australian citizen or permanent resident, the person will get $300 to $400 a week from Centrelink. Deduct this living cost, $90 a week. You still have more than $200 to buy food or other essential expenses. Only this way alone, there shouldn't have any homeless people. There shouldn't have any free meal handout. Those organizations hand out free meals. And also, there's no need to have a CEO sleeping out, raise up fund, try to supply essential services to the homeless people. Why we cannot do that? Why the government cannot do that? Because there's other side of the story. Many homeless people, they have mental health issues. For example, one of my newly adopted younger brother, he has a drug problem. He has to inject drugs. Each of them costs $50. He sleep outside on the street, and he get a free meal, free clothes, free fruit even. So he's homeless, and even he harass passerbys. There's a woman. Last week, he disappeared. Then I found out he was locked up for 3 months because he had a fight with a security guard. So somebody like him, he cannot stay in a hostel like this one because he will drive everybody crazy. And he will be kicked out of this hostel. Another one, also a young man, he is homeless. He said he has a house in Queensland, but because of the virus, he cannot go back, but he cannot pay the mortgage because he has mental problem as well. He could stay in some apartment or hostel free, but he said to me, because other people have mental problem, they get crazy and cause him get crazy. So he didn't want to stay there. So he chose to sleep on the street. Such kind of example, you can have many. So the problem is, it's not the government not waiting to solve the problem for more than 30 years. Because those homeless people, they have the right to choose to be homeless. We cannot force them to stay in a place like this, or government give them some accommodation. I remember a long time ago, there was homeless people sleeping outside of a church on Pitt Street. It's a Anglican church. The government arranged him to stay in Canterbury, with a room. But he didn't want, because he had an alcohol problem, and he wanted to sleep outside of church. And he said, when he sleep, he said the sky, it's a 5 million star hotel. So he keep run away from Canterbury, come to the city, sleep outside of church. Nobody cannot do anything because he didn't break the law. The police cannot intervene. So my conclusion is, Australian homeless people is not the government's fault. It's a mental health issue. It's not a financial issue. People say also a charity group or the churches try to help them. They cannot totally fix the problem. They just keep this one going. Even some homeless people tell me, oh, the free food is so good. Every day they really on it. Really on it, this free handout food. But I tell the truth hurts. Many people like this sleeping out say, oh, those organizers of handing out free food, they don't agree with me. Doesn't matter. You don't agree with me or you agree with me, the problem still is a problem. We have to start it, find the way how to address it. Even today, I talked to a young man. He said it's both sides. The government should do a little bit more, and the homeless people also should do more as well. Cannot just sit on the street and wait. So this kind of problem will keep it forever. If Australia really care about homeless people, really want to fix this problem, should suggest the government change the law. Okay. Either give them more treatment in the mental health rehabilitation, mental hospital, or do some other arrangement. But it's very hard because Australia is a free country. Every citizen have their own human rights. If they don't break the law, you cannot force them to off the street. They have a lot of excuses. There's a woman told me somebody stole her identity. But I asked her, why you cannot get back your identity? She said, cannot. I don't believe that. In Australia, if you're a real person, even if your ID was stolen by somebody, you have a very right or a lot of way get help from the legal aid and get your identity back. Homeless people, homeless issue in Australia is not a financial problem. It's a mental health problem.